you know. Party time. If Bengali go for come on. If not, then we'll just forget about him because he's a useless person anyway. He's very forgetful. He's not doing it. Bless him. Hello everybody and welcome to round 11 of the SLR T1 Championship, and today we are at Brazil, where we've got 14 drivers, including me who's retired, but we do have 14 drivers. We have Petrus as well, who unfortunately didn't make qualifying, but he is here as we've got surface currently. The person chasing down Thorium at the minute on pole with a 107.2. Pretty impressive time. I'm expecting the pole time to be probably in the 106s, as last season that was where it was from Thorium on that occasion. We've got a few new people this week. We've got Danny and Daniel Alves returning to the league, and hopefully they'll be hoping to put some decent performances in today. And we've had a few departures with Speedster and R2 unfortunately leaving the league. Yes, we've got a few messages. Just have a look. But anyway, we've got in this early stage of qualifying, we've got Surface in the pits now. After he's done his lap, he'll be hoping to get as far up the field as he possibly can. We've got Jack in second at the minute. We're 107.5, 3/10 off of Surface, but it's a good benchmark from him. And what will everybody else be able to do? Daniel Pitts. Danny's out there on the lap. I think he's got better internet now. I think he had a booster, so he's going to be improved. Milix does a 114, which is nothing to be. Well, it's not great, is it? I'll load the stream up. Hopefully my internet doesn't die because it's been on and off all day. So fingers crossed about that as well. And hopefully we can have a lot of fun. We've also got Calcas here. We've got a lot of quick drivers, and we're hoping for a great race out there. I'm on board. Alex Musica returning as well after a few weeks of not being here. We've got Alfie in the chat. I don't know if Alfie is racing tonight in A1. Obviously that time's been moved to suit them. I'm presuming he is racing. But most of the guys are in the pits at the minute. Thorium's on his out lap. He's coming out quite late. Same Calcas, maybe they're just going for the 2 runs. Daniel's in the pits as well. So is Jack, CYP and Jammy Dodger. So I keep calling him the Jammy Dodger, but it's not the Jammy Dodger, it's James Dodger, isn't it? Keep having this confusion. But here comes Alex coming to the end of his lap. Hasn't been the best of laps, but we'll see what he can do, as he's all over the track into the last few corners. And I'm not expecting this to be anything special, but let's see if he can go anywhere near pole. As he comes across the line now, and it's going to be in the 107s, 108s, so it's ticking down, and 108.3. So just behind CYP, a 10th off, but over a second off pole so far. The Surface has started his second attempt. Obviously, Brazil's a small track, 1:07 is the lap so far, so it's quite quick to get around into Lagos, and so that means there'll be quite a few runs here today. As he heads down into turn 2, nice and clean. Runs a little bit wide, you can get invalidated over that curb. And it's interesting to see Surface has already been quicker than my time trial times on the PC. So nice going from him. I'm expecting the 106s though to be hit from these guys. They're quite a bit faster than myself. We've got most of the guys on track at the minute. We're staying on board with Surface, including Thorium, who's on a lap. I don't know if he's coming to the end of it. He's just ahead of Surface, so we'll go on board with the championship leader in his Force India, his trusty Force India. He won his first championship in that Force India, and he's hoping to go to number 2 now as he comes across the line to finish his lap. And here goes Thorium. and it's pole 107.099, and that is a benchmark that Surface is not able to match. He's done a 0.1, a 300th down, should I say. We're very close. Next up, we've got Blunt Span in the last corner. So I don't know if that'll affect anybody. As Mebe comes to the line now, and he's going on a 193, so that's nothing special from him. He's not going to be in the way of Kalkas here. Is Blunt, but here comes now to the line is Kalkas. And I don't know who he is. Rafael Alves, but he's joined us. As Daniel Alves goes P4, 3 temporarily, as Kalkas goes pole with a 6.9. And I'll try and get rid of this geezer. Actually, no. I think it's one of Daniel's friends, I have a feeling. But interestingly enough, only 3 attempts between the top 4 so far. And Daniel on the other end of that. With Surface P3, Thorium P2 and Kalkas with an absolute stonker of a lap in P2. Thorium and Surface both in the pits, and I'm presuming that Kalkas will join them. We'll get the timing up. It's interesting to see what they fit in. Alex Music is on the softs with his 0.7. So, yeah, and CYP, it's basically everyone but the top 5 has been on the softs on their fastest laps, and a few people now go on the supers, including CIP, Danny as well. We'll stay on board with CIP. I don't know if he's coming to the end of his lap or just starting one, as he lights up the rears or in the last corner, and he's coming round in his Mercedes. And will he be able to pull off a surprise pole? I reckon. As he comes up to the line now, and it's going to be a 107.6, so no, just behind Jack. So 7 attempts between the top 6 so far. Jamie Dodger, I think it was, behind him there on the supers. Manages to go to P8, but again, that can be beat. And here comes Danny. Will he be able to improve? As he heads up to line, we yet to have Millix have a lap as well, as he's on the super so far. I think he seems to bottle quali quite a bit. But yeah, that curb can be quite dangerous for him as well, as he runs slightly wide. Surface is wondering why random people are joining. I have no idea. No, I do have an idea, I'm not saying no. I'm just hoping they leave us alone. There's Milix, and now going to come to line. It's 6.1 up. So that's around 108, which is not quite his pace, but we'll see as he pits. We won't see at all. His Mebe's been going around on the mediums for some reason. Maybe realising he can't get pole. As Alex Music is starting his lap. Surface is starting his as well. So we'll stay on board with Ferrari as he comes around now through the middle part of the lap and the second straight before you head down and shift down 4 times. Well, a bit more than 4 times in that case, because he ran really wide. There's an incident in sector 2 and 3 as Blunt goes to P8 on the soft tyres there, and 107.7 or 8 pretty much. Now or thereabouts, just behind Alex. So I wonder if them two can get a bit closer on them supers at the end of the session. This could be an almighty battle, could be the closest pole of the year. As Surface now coming down the hill. And into the final corner he goes. And I think this laps might be a write-off for him, because I can't quite see his ERS deployment. It's still in Rich, but I think he's coming into the pits. Yes. Thorium's on an out lap. Is anyone on an actual lap? I think Daniel's out there on a lap at the minute. See if he can challenge anybody. Obviously recently qualified for the Pro Draft. the first driver to do that in SLR. So well done to him. And I don't know who these people are, but they're doing made. But as he comes to line now, as I'm annoying him in the chat, and he does a 107.0, just a little bit off of Kalkas, about a tenth down, but ahead of Thorium by virtually nothing. And same with Surface, them are all together, and gets him into P2. As now we're on board with Jack, as he runs a little bit wide on that curve. I wonder if he's struggling a little bit, as I think he's trying to get rid of them now because he's left. As CYP is CYP went up to P6 there with 0.6. Danny's on a 0.7. Alex Musica's on a 0.7. Blunt's on a 0.7. So 7 temps between the top 9 isn't too bad. I wonder if it'll get even closer with the guys going on the supers, especially CYP and Danny and Alex as well. And you can say Blunt, so there's all these guys are back into the top 10. There's all the top 5 are all in the pits so far, getting ready for their last runs. As Milix goes to a 0.1, and look how close that is. Half a tenth off of Surface. As CYP goes to a 0.3, Blunt's retired, so that rules him out. But 4 tenths to pole position so far between the top 6. And that is pretty crazy. I wonder if anyone can pull out that demon lap that's going to just blow everybody away. We'll wait to see it, but Milix, with his new LR account, he's officially been named as an LR driver, but that we're still in discussion, really, in reality. CYP's having a bit of a interesting way where that gone is an incident in the first sector. I wonder if that's the Jammy Dodger. It possibly is, coming out the pits. But look how close that pole time is. Anybody can get it as Milix comes into the pits as he gets ready for his final run. And CYP will join him. So the only person on track really is the Jammy Dodger, but he's not going fast. There's nobody on track. Thorium's come out for his outlap. He's midway for his lap. The championship leader, under a bit of pressure from Surface, really. He's not really have to look at much else. I mean, Milix sort of is in the mix. Same with Kalkas if I look at the championship, but yeah, he doesn't really need to focus on the likes of Daniel, really, who's obviously only been here for this race. I'll just check for you guys as he starts his lap. So Kalkas is 57 points off, so he doesn't really need to worry, and seeing Milix 45 off, so it's unlikely for them to challenge. Whereas Surface is 28, so he's really his only challenger. But pole is not that vital around this track. There's quite a lot of opportunities to overtake, and as you can see, it's very, very close between the top lot. And we'll wonder what that pole time will be, and how much more time's in it. And as you can see, I think Thorum's already backed off of his lap on this occasion. As Kalkas is on a lap now, I think, as he's heading round the middle sector, using that 5th gear to get the turn in, getting it nicely turned in. Will he be able to go any faster than his pole time, I wonder, as he's going to get 2 laps at this, I think. He's got a slow Thorium ahead of him, and it'd be interesting to see if he gets in the way of anything. But 4 tenths is the difference, and as Alex Music has actually gone and joined them in that little thing. 4 tenths the difference between 7th to 1st at the minute, as Kalkas now comes across the line, and we'll see if he's been able to improve with DRS open. And he's taking the shortest route to line. This suggests that it's fairly quick, and it's a 0.8. He's gone just a little bit quicker but that little bit could mean all the difference. As Thorium starts his lap. Now, will he be able to be the one to beat that as Alex Musica retires from the session with that .3? And Thorium just a little bit off his time so far in the first sector. He's run wide in the chicane. It's just the pressure getting to him now for the first time in this season. And the Jammy Dodger is also retired as well. And I must remind you that I was starting the race, but not really, as I intend to retire straight away. Unfortunately, I'm not in spectator cam. Kind of forgot to do that before the race. But will Thorium be able to displace? As we've got actually surface as well. We need to keep an eye on, as we've got the worst camera angles of all time. Daniel's the start of his lap, so we won't keep an eye on him. But the next person to line is Surface. Daniel retired, so that's him out of the running for pole position. And here comes Surface to the line, and he is 8/10 off. Thorium pits, so that's him out of contention. And it looks like he's going to start only P3 with Thorium. Not quite the lightning pace we're expecting, as Millix in the final corner has joined Danny. in the middle of nowhere. He's reversed onto the track as Millix. I don't know if that's the smartest thing. As Jack improves to a .1. And look how close it is between the top 6. That is crazy. As CYP comes to the line now, will he be able to improve? He does, to a .2. He doesn't improve his position. What a qualifying session that is. 2/10 in the end to Kalkas, but so close for the rest of them. I mean, CYP and Clives are very lucky to only get P7 with that lap. I mean, that was a crazy end to qualifying. Imagine if Petrus was in there as well. It could have been a lot closer. But yeah, that is qualifying. Kalka's on pole with a .8, which is a crazy lap. With Daniel, well, formerly Daniel Alves in P2, Thorium P3, Surface P4. I mean, look how close it is in this midfield. Well, near the front, I suppose. Surface P4, Millix P5, and Jack P6, CYP P7. 4/10 and half a second separates the top 8 drivers here today, and then obviously everyone else didn't really get a lap in, including Danny in P14. Yeah, what a qualifying. What a qualifying. And it leads me to think that this is going to be a very close race indeed, as Danny says he hates the track. It's usually someone's favourite, to be honest. Usually people's favourites. As I'm sat on the grid. I don't really want to be sat on the grid at all. Is Petrus in the session? Or did he leave? Oh no, he is here. Oh dear, I'll have to get out of the way. There's also got Rafael. I'll see if I can get rid of him. I'll try and get rid of Rafael. 1 second. Work, please. What if I can actually message him? Why have I got... Oh, this is a joke. Maybe I could ask him to join the league after. I can't even find him. It's this. Oh no, that's why. We'll see if he leaves. But anyway, I'm starting P13 for some unknown reason. I shouldn't be on the grid. We'll see if he leaves.
The rest of the grid is full.
I hope he does. Anyway. I've retired. I'm out of it. As they all head into turn one, we'll see where they all are. Kalkas is leading from Daniel, and he's had an absolute stonker of a start with Thorium P3. Surface coming under the pressure of Milix at the minute. We've got Rafael Alves. I don't know who he is, but you know he's racing apparently. His producer's already made his way up into P12 as there's a bit of side-by-side action here between Alex and... Oh, Blunt nearly got squeezed out there on the exit. And Mebe's got a beautiful view of all this as he's heading down the inside of Blunt, and it doesn't look like he's made a move. Fairly clean start as there goes Danny making the most of his opportunities there, and Mebe having a bit of back at Danny now as they head side by side. Petrus in behind the debutant. As we look ahead, there's been a break markable taken out by Surface, I believe, as the front lot have got away between Thorium, Daniel and Kalkas are all away from the rest of them. Surface doesn't seem to quite have what it takes to stay with them. He's in a separate battle with Jack and Milix at the minute as Milix heads around the outside, and Jack is using a little bit too much track there. As here goes CYP there, as we've got the worst camera angles of all time. We'll stay on board, I think, as we head down now into turn number 3. We've got a move up ahead, and it looks like Milix is going to be making that move there all over the track in behind, and it looks like Jack is now still in P6 as CYP is taking a very adventurous ride, and how is he still alive? Oh god, there's Blunt, and there's Blunt with no damage somehow rejoining. Luckily the Rafael that we don't want racing is not interfering too much, but we've got a nice battle up ahead between everybody else, CYP included, and wonder if there's any position changes up ahead. Daniel is pressuring Kalkas, but not quite to the extent of making a move, but it's fairly close so far. Milix in behind, he's overtaken Surface, and there isn't many close battles. I mean, it's close, but they're like at arm's length so far, as Danny is now putting CYP under some significant pressure as he heads down the straight now, and he's been making his moves, and he was complaining beforehand that he hated the track, but he's making a lot of moves. So the tyre strategy is going to be important. He's starting on the soft tyre, and he's the highest of the soft runners. He's overtaken everybody behind who's on the softs, and CYP is coming under a lot of pressure from somebody on the... He's on a better tyre, really. I mean, the soft tyre is the better race tyre, but as a quali, as a race, at this point in the race, the supers should be superior. And there's a lot of battles up ahead, but they're keeping each other at arm's length. As you can see in the top 3, they're all a couple of attempts back from each other as Alves loses the car there, and it looks like Thorium will be able to make his move fairly shortly. He's putting them under a lot of pressure, and it'll be interesting to see his two former VP person is Thorium as Rafael leaves the session, thank god. So that's the end of that debacle. As CYP has actually been overtaken by Danny here, so we've got, oh god, Mebe and Petrus, and somehow oh god, Mebe is now facing the wrong way, after being pendulumed one way and then the other. He's now facing the wrong way as Thorium has made his move on Daniel as they go side by side up the hill. The former VP driver against the current VP driver, and it looks like the former has actually managed to get ahead at this point, with Milix just in behind the new Livid Racing driver, with Surface in behind with Jack and Alex Musica looking at the back of him. It's a crazy start to this race. A lot of battles, not really many contacts, except for Mebe. There hasn't been many contacts. Petrus is up to P9. Oh god, Jack gets all over the curb there, nearly loses it. But the closest battle really on track is between these two for second place. Kalkis has been able to get away in all of this, and he's shown a rapid pace, and it's showing off here in the race as well as qualifying, as Daniel heads around the outside trying to get just a better exit than Thorium at this point. And as he heads down now the second straight, he's going to open his DRS, and it should be a slam dunk move surely for the Sauber driver as he heads down into turn number 3, and down inside he goes, and he's back ahead of Thorium. And Milix is getting a nice view of this as it looks like Danny's progress has kind of stopped after getting ahead of CYP, who's looking at the battle between Petrus as Mebe pits for the first person to stop in lap 5, which shows how clean these guys have been in the opening laps, which is a credit to them. Jammy Dodger picks up a penalty further back, and it looks like Jack and Surface gets a bit out of shape there on the exit as Mebe leaves the session. He just kind of got span-rounded, Mebe. I don't know. Yeah, it just looked accidental, to be honest. CYP couldn't do a lot about it. Let's put it that way. He just went to the outside. It's what I'd do, to be honest. As Alex is not quite in the DRS range of these guys. Daniel still holding down that P2 ahead of Thorium. They're starting to catch a little bit of Kalkis now. Maybe he might be better on the tyres, as Blunt makes his move on Petrus for P9, and Petrus picks up his first penalty of the race, and as he slips down to P10, it's so close though between everybody at this point. As you can see, Jack putting the Surface under some significant pressure. I keep using that word significant. I need to change it up a bit. Some real pressure, let's say. And it looks like that position could change fairly shortly as Danny picks up a penalty. But these three have been together since the start of this race, and they're still together, it's fair to say. For Rhino's entertainment as Milix. That curb seems to be a very lethal, and they like running it as well. I don't know if it's just an on-purpose thing or not, but Daniel's starting to pick his pace up. It's pretty certain to see that. The pit stops will be interesting to see as well. I think Danny will take the lead of this race at the minute. If we look at the gap to the leader, he's 9 seconds off the leader on them soft tyres. He's doing pretty well. And Milix is now starting to put the squeeze on Thorium. Thorium's struggling a bit here. He's since he got overtaken by Daniel, he's slipped back a bit. Here goes Jack on the outside of Surface. They're touching wheels a little bit of wheel banging, but it looks like Surface has managed to keep the position. But here he goes, he goes down the inside, and Alex is watching this very closely. But it looks like Mark's been able to make the move back on Surface and back for P5. And yeah, nice move there by Mark. I mean, to both of them to be able to give each other a bit of room through that section is pretty crazy. But Milix is really starting to close in on these guys now. He's starting to pick up the pace and put the pressure on Thorium. And these guys are running at a really good pace at the minute. Jack's been dropped by Milix a bit. It's the top 4 that are kind of in their own league. Kalkas, Daniel, Thorium and Milix. You could probably say that. I mean, no offence to Surface and Jack, they're kind of a little bit further back. They have been pretty much all season. To the likes of Kalkas, Thorium and Milix, they've been the 3 that have been winning a lot. I know Surface is in the championship battle and has done really, really well. But he's not really been his old self, let's say, of last season. But the same with Jack as well. When he was running the line, he was a little bit quicker. But we've got some battles for back as well, with CYP putting the pressure on Petrus still. Blunt's pulled away slightly on them softs. Danny's a little bit further ahead of that. But Blunt's actually picked up a penalty, speaking of him. But the person who's lost out most is CYP. At this point. Disconnection. As now it looks like Alex is trying to put the squeeze on surface here for P6 as Alex heads around the outside, and oh god, he's lost the car. He just put the power down too early there, did Alex, and he's lost his front wing as well. I think Surface kind of got away with it, but he just put the power down too early, and he's falling like a stone now, and he's got no one to worry about him behind. Here goes Petrus on CYP, and it looks like he's got past by squeezing him out a little bit. I wonder if he'll give that position back or not. I don't think he will. I think he just squeezed him out. So that's him back into that P9. And Danny's actually now on the back of Surface, who's dropped off of Jack because of that incident. But interestingly up ahead, Kalkas has pulled out a 2-second gap on Daniel, and that's allowed Thorium to catch up to the back of him a little bit. He's started to pick up the pace a bit. He's using a lot of VRS to do this as well, or maybe he's just doing one off, one on, or something like that sort of thing, because he's using all of it. And same with Milix. Milix has got quite a lot more though in reserve, and same with Daniel, and Kalkas is just chilling at the minute. And there's an interesting battle with CYP again, who's right on the back of Petrus for P9. I mean, all the way back down in P9. And Finish Boy is just a little bit further back on them softs as CYP goes to the inside this time. Should be more or less a done move as he squeezes Petrus out. Gives him the treatment that Petrus gave him in the last lap. And that's CYP back up into P9. Blunt's having a very lonely race at the minute in P8 as we're already on lap 10. We've got plenty of battles out there to keep everybody entertained. I hope everybody's enjoying the race so far, as Danny's now putting the pressure on their Surface still, as they're both catching up to Jack a bit. I think Surface, after that little bit of an incident, wasn't his fault. I mean, there's nothing he could have done. I mean, Alex just lost the car completely on his own and hit the side of him. Luckily he hasn't got any damage from it, because he just hit his side pod and bounced off. But who will be the first to pit 10 laps these supers have gone? And that surprises me. I don't know how long they actually go, but they've gone quite far into this race. I wonder how long the softs can go. I wonder if it's just a one-stop after all, and maybe that'll favour someone like Danny, who's going to be on them at the end. So he's in a very, very nice position so far as Petrus picks up another penalty, trying to keep up with CYP. Finish Boy's starting to catch up to the back of these guys. The Jabberdoji is just a little bit further back, and that's really what we've got running. We've got 12 guys running in this race at the minute. We did start with 15/14 really. As Surface is now really putting Jack under some serious pressure, as he has been for quite a few laps, and same with Danny. Danny's doing a fantastic job, by the way. Kalkas pits, and so does Daniel. Thorium carries on, and no speeding penalties as Milix carries on as well. So 2 in, 2 stay out for that extra lap. I wonder if they're just going for a fast lap on them supers, and it'll be interesting to see if the undercut or the overcut works. And also, will Daniel come out ahead of Kalkas? I think that's pretty much a no. Just wondering if he'd hold him up a bit or not, but it doesn't look like it. And if anything, he slipped a bit further back. And also traffic could be a big thing, as Finish Boy is coming out right with these guys. And there goes Daniel. He's come out behind Petrus and CYP. Kalkas has come out in a nice gap, and that is crucial. But Daniel has come out exactly where he doesn't want to be. Let's put it that way, behind CYP. And it's a little bit of a battle. He'll be hoping that he could clear them. And this is going to favour someone like Thorium, who's done that extra lap just to get clear of these guys, because he knows he's quicker in just right now. It just is. But will Thorium and Milix be able to both jump the likes of Daniel because of this? And Daniel's actually on the medium tyre as well, and Kalkas has got another super off. So Kalkas is 2-stopping, which is also interesting, as it looks like Surface is in the pits and Milix is in the pits, but Thorium's going forever with Daniel now in Daniel Danny in second is a Daniel and a Danny on the grid. It's very difficult to tell between the two sometimes. There's Milix comes out, and it looks like he's going to come out behind Daniel Alves, surely. Or will he? Or is Milix ahead? As there comes Daniel down to turn number 2. I think he's going to get him with just the momentum. Oh no, it's Jamie Dodger. Sorry. Daniel has got him pretty comfortably. It's Jamie Dodger. I thought they were coming out side by side then. Fair enough. But if we look at the gap between them, it looks like Thorium might actually be able to get him. It'd be very, very close. And I wonder if he's going to pit this lap as Thorium, and that'll give Danny the lead with Blunt second. Calcus said, no, he's carrying on for... How good is his tyre wear? Because the other guys have pit well before. I mean, 13 laps now. Presuming... I mean, if you look at the people who've stopped, Milix has gone on to the mediums as well as Daniel. I wonder if he's going softs to go for a faster tyre. I mean, that is the faster race tyre. I wonder if he's going for that faster tyre to just try and go for it more at the end. I mean, it'd be a faster pace in the long term. Oh god, that looks a bit weird. On Petrus for P5, and Milix has picked up a penalty in behind, but it was no contest in the end. Milix has got past James Dodger, and he's 7 seconds now of Calcus. That's how crucial them positions was. He was 2 seconds before the pit stop, now it's 7. And that kind of suggests that Thorium's going to be in between. Just in pure strategy, so maybe he's just chose the wrong one. But then again, Calcus is pitting again, so it's hard to choose because he's on the mediums and he's on the supers. We don't exactly know what's the pit stop. Look at gap to leader. So we're probably looking at about a 21 pit stop for 21 seconds, I'd like to think. Maybe even less. The Thorium's in. Championship leader is in, and where will he come out? Danny takes the lead, and he's done a fantastic job so far in this race. Calcus not a million miles behind him, but he's going to come out. Where's Daniel? He's coming through turn 1, and it looks like Thorium's done the jump. Blunt is out of this race, and that has allowed Thorium, and that's done Thorium a treat, because I think the virtual safety car's out. Or the actual safety car's out, one or the other. Because Thorium is a long way ahead in the end. Is the safety car out or is the virtual safety car out? And I wonder what happens to Danny. I don't know if it's a VSC. We can't tell because it's not telling us. But they're going slower. We know that. But Blunt is out. That's all we know. Milix is still behind Petrus. But yeah, it's interesting. Interesting situation we find ourselves in here, as we head pretty much halfway through the Grand Prix now. Surface pit a few laps before as well. We didn't mention that with Jack, and they've come out behind James Dodger and Finish Boy as well. So we've got 2 different races going off early. And we'll find out in a minute as Danny takes his opportunity to pit. And so does Calcus. This is a safety car, surely. And Thorium's going to carry on. Yeah, this probably is a safety car. Unless they're just taking an opportunity to... Is it a safety car? We'll find out when we see it, but... Or is it just a VSC? I think it's going a bit too long for a VSC. Maybe it is just as a safety car. Which makes things very interesting, because Thorium's on them soft, so that'll maybe make him be able... Yeah, there's a safety car. We've got a safety car, guys. We found an answer. We have a safety car. And this has changed the dynamic of this race significantly, because Thorium will be able to save his tyres a bit longer, which gives him a bit more tyre life. But he's on the soft tyres now, compared to, let's say, Daniel on the mediums, Milix on the mediums. Danny's been able to stop as well, so that's made him... Actually, he's jumped Calcus through all this. Calcus was leading this race, and he's had to pit. He's pit again because he needed to anyway. He was just going to do. He's going to do that 2-stop anyway. But this is throwing this up in the air because Calcus now has a disadvantage on Thorium. He's the favourite for the race now instead of what Calcus. So basically, they've just switched positions pretty much. with Surface being able to close up to 4th. Petrus as well has been able to have a free pit stop under this, with Finish Boy also. So the biggest loser really is Jack in 9th now, CYP still 10th, but Petrus is the biggest winner with, let's say, Danny and Thorium really. They're your biggest winners, and then everyone else is pretty much the same as, oh god, Milix has spun under the safety car. And, well, he's the biggest loser, unless he can regain. I'm surprised he didn't just pit because he's last. So he's spun under the safety car. I don't know why he's spun under the safety car, but that's given Danny another position. He's on the podium now out of absolutely nothing. Milix isn't having the best time of it now, as he's dead last. So he joins the back of the train surely. Maybe he just weaved too much and span. He's done a Roman Grosjean. But that promotes everybody else up another place, including Kalkas, so that's him a little bit more closer to Thorium than we expected. Milix is now down there, he's the biggest loser, and then Mebe's ghost car is causing all sorts of problems. I'm glad I haven't got a ghost car right there, and Raphael's ghost car as well, which means they can't get close to each other. Well, Danny to the top 2 of Thorium and Daniel, they're kinda okay. Surface is now in P5. Going to the end. What a race we've got in our hands for these last laps. Milix coming through the field. We've still got Jack on them softs. He's gone soft as well, so he's on a good tyre. And we don't know. Oh, the safety car's in this lap, guys. So we do know if the safety car's coming in. Didn't tell us it was coming out, but it's coming in now. As we are heading to race, and Thorium backs up the package. This is not a unfamiliar position for Thorium. It doesn't happen very often, the safety car in this game. But we have got one, and it'll be interesting to see what happens as we lead the cars away now, and it looks like Thorium's got not the best of launches. It's ahead of Daniel, but not by what he'd like, to be honest, but he's been able to save up his ERS. Jack has already made a move on Finish Boy. That lasted about 2 seconds, that position for Finish Boy, and now he's been able to close him just a little bit. Daniel's dropped back from Thorium, so maybe he slowed him down there in the first corner and got a better exit, but that's a big gap, big old gap. As Kalkas is looking all over the back of Daniel, who won't want to be in this position. Danny's been overtaken by Kalkas already. Be keeping up with this is going to be a bit of a pain, as Finish Boy's now in P9, and Milix will probably get him fairly shortly, despite the older tyres. And Kalkas is now all over the back of Daniel for P2. And I wonder if Kalkas will be able to make that move into that first corner. He's definitely the fastest driver on the day today anyway, as he heads down now the straight, as he continues his pursuit for him, and it looks like it's going to be a two-way battle today as he flies past Daniel. Unfortunately, the mediums in this situation aren't the best tyre, I don't think. Even Danny's catching Daniel at this point, and he's on the same tyre, so maybe he's got a bit of a problem, I wonder, or he's just saving them, I wonder. But Jack is making his move now as he goes past Petrus for P5, who's already made that move on Surface, as they gave him a wheel bangy there. And I'm aware there's some connection issues going on right now, but here goes Jack being really ballsy down the inside of Petrus, and here goes Surface. He's not quite as ballsy as Jack, who was on the verge of winning the race last week, but didn't quite. But he's having a great race so far. I'm pretty sure he's enjoying himself. He's up into P5. He's on them better tyres as well, and he'll be up for the fight with Danny and Daniel at this rate. But fair play to these two. They're staying to the back of Kalkas a little bit, but I'm expecting him to pull away and try and catch up Thorium. Kalkas on this day is the quickest driver. That's pretty certain. But will Thorium... What's Thorium got in his locker? We know he's an extremely talented driver, and we know what he's capable of. But today, on this day, what's he got? Because Danny cuts the first chicane, gets a penalty. Jack gets a penalty. Petrus gets a penalty. 1, 2 and 3 there. All get penalties. I don't know if they all just cut the chicane or not. Surface didn't. I wonder what the penalty situation is like, actually. We'll double check that while we haven't got too many things going off. Thorium hasn't got any, that's pretty crucial. Calcus as well. Daniel has got 1. Danny has got 2. Jack has got his 1. And Petrus has got 3 OTM. And so Surface has 1 as well. So that'll be interesting later on in the race how that plays out. As Jack is already all over the back of Danny. And I can honestly, he's on for a podium if he carries on the way he is, because he's on the right tyres at the minute. It'd be interesting to see how the softs last at the back end of the race, though. That's where it's going to be the most interesting, because the mediums might come back at them. So it's going to be a long order at 15 laps for the medium guys, but we're wondering if they can come back later on. But it looks like Jack is going to make that move on Danny for P4. Milits gets a 5-second stop and go for a speed in the pit lane. He's lost his front wing again. I think that's the end of his race, unfortunately for him. James Dodger is now in the points for Finnish boy, who struggled initially. This has given CYP a new lease of life as well. He's up into P8, but what a messed up race this has been. Petrus P6, Danny's in P5 out of nothing really. And up ahead, I think Danny's keeping up with Jack just a little bit, and he's doing okay. Petrus hasn't managed to catch up, which shows his pace isn't quite there. Same with Surface. Surface has kind of been bottlenecked at this point with CYP. These two need to really get a move on if they want to make an impact on this race, especially Surface in the championship. This could be it for him, pretty much. I mean, with 2 races to go, let's say he gets his 6 points to Thorium's 25. That's a 19-point swing in Thorium's favour. And that will pretty much put it out of any reach, because that'll be 47 points. So something special has to happen, really, be it with an incident or something else. He really needs to gain rather than lose. But Thorium's proving, like he's proven so many times, what a driver he really is. But Calcas is really gaining, to be fair to him. I'm not underestimating him in any way, shape or form. He's been unbelievable. He got that pole, which was pretty special in the start of this race. You know, 106.8 is nothing to be not proud about. Let's put it that way. If I did that, I think I'd crap myself. As Jack is now putting the pressure on Daniel for P3, and it'd be interesting to see if he can make that move for the podium and to get his revenge. Obviously he got a podium last week. He's starting to come into a bit of form since his return. He got a podium last week in Monza. That seems to be a really good track for him. He hasn't really done too much in Brazil to show that anything. If I have a look, and obviously a few of these drivers are fighting for staying in the league. Actually, obviously top 10. CYP's on the cusp. That's the Pirate and Nick Nike are in it at the minute. Obviously, I think they two dropped out of the league, so that's them two pretty much out of it. No, interestingly, I think Jack's worked on his consistency this week, because he's only got the 1 penalty instead of the 15 seconds worth of the, 10 corners of Monza. No, it's not 10 corners, that's 7. But yeah, 28 points is the cut-off at the minute for the top 10. And with this result, that will help him without a doubt. Try and get to that top 10. Obviously Speedster dropped out. R2 will probably get that top 10, but will he take up the opportunity is yet to be seen. But I think Speedster will be back next season. I'd like to think so. He's a great driver himself. But focusing on the race today, Daniel's putting up a nice fight against Jack on lap 23 of 36. As Calcas is still gaining on Thorium. Thorium's using more ERS as well to put in, to keep his defence up. And M-Softs, I fear the M-Softs are going to go off a little bit at the end. But we've still got another 12 laps. So 17, 18 laps. I don't think anyone took it that long. 19. No. In fact, it'd been on them tyres by the end around 20 laps. 21 laps. I don't know if they can go that long. I'm not sure. Maybe they can. As Melix is going for the fastest lap. but he has to be in the top 10 to obviously get the point for it. I'll load up as we after this race we'll be following up with a real life race, which should be an interesting one as well. Hopefully that one's a cracker in Canada, but we're still having a great race here today. The surface has got ahead of Petrus now, and now we'll see CYP be able to get past as well, as these two have lost a significant amount of time to Danny in P5. And for surface, it's just limiting the damage and hoping to destroy Thorium in the last couple of races. That's his hope, as he's probably going to get robbed of 2 SLR championships here. As last season he came second, and this season he's looking like he's going to finish second as well. He's a great driver. This season probably more the line was a problem for him than, let's say, Thorium. Thorium kind of practiced it more to begin with. I think maybe last season. I think he's more used to it. But here goes CYP on Petrus down the inside, goes bold, and so these two have been battling for half a lap. Petrus runs wide, no wheel banging. That was very close though to a desync incident. But CYP that was interesting defending, I must admit, weaving one way and the other. They're both going one way and then the other. That was very interesting. Kalkas is winning the second of Thorium now, so will he be able to claim his win today? As Kalkas hasn't won a race this season, but is showing all the signs that today should be his day, surely. But obviously the safety car didn't help him too much. He was doing the 2-stop. He's doing the 2-stop currently, but he is gaining on Thorium, that's for sure. Within half a second now, as Jack and Daniel are having their own little battle, with Petrus and CYP in behind in P8 and 7 with their battle, and they're really the battle's on track at the minute with 11 drivers left in the Grand Prix, and fair play to the 11 drivers that are still going. A lot better than Monza, I feel, as a race. This time around, obviously the uncertainty was who was going to win was quite put you on the edge of your seats slightly. And but today we've got a battle for the win rather than a penalty decision deciding it, and that's what we want. But we don't know who's going to be on the podium yet. I mean, it's pretty certain that Thorium and Kalkas probably will be, but will Jack be able to join him, as he's got within 3/10 of Daniel? Has he got the straight line speed? He's got all the ERS in the world, so has Daniel though, but he has no DRS. And how bold can Jack be, or Mark, or whatever we want to call him, as he heads down now into turn 1, down the inside. He puts his nose in and touches Daniel. I don't know if he'll let him back past, but he is through, and it doesn't look like he is, but he did definitely touch him down the inside. I don't think Daniel left him a whole lot of room, to be honest. But he wasn't all over the curbs, was Jack, but yeah, it was just a bit unfortunate, I think. I don't know if Jack is giving that position up gradual, because he's slowing down a little bit. I'm not sure. But the 3 people that went for the softs in that safety car pit stop are now on the podium. That's the most interesting thing to say. So that decides what strategy was probably the best in the end. The softs at that pit stop, whereas other people like Millix didn't take that and span under the safety car with probably cold tyres. I don't know. He was on them for a few laps, the mediums. Because I've got lots of messages. But here comes Petrus down into turn 1 now. Will he be able to get CYP? I wonder. As he heads now down into turn 1. And here goes Petrus on CYP. Not quite. These two are kind of running similar pace at the minute for P7. As Petrus picks up another penalty. I'm surprised if he won't get disqualified. But he gets a better run. Oh god, nearly gets put in the wall with a bit of lag. But he manages to get the position. But yeah, a little bit deep. We'll double check the penalty situation again. It looks like Thorium has not picked up one yet. He's got 2 warnings. But so has Kalkas. So they're basically on an even footing. Jack has his 1. Daniel has his 2. And he's on the verge of getting another one. Danny has one. Surface has one. So fairly clean from the driver's state, except for probably Petrus. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 penalties for Petrus. So that's 12 seconds. That'll probably put him behind. Well, put him behind CYP for sure. I don't think CYP knows a lot about this, to be honest. But if Surface catches Danny, that'll be a legitimate battle for P5. And interestingly enough, Kaukas is gaining on Thorium, and there's another battle further back as Petrus has got past CYP yet again. But here goes CYP, he tries to go to the inside. Oh my god, he got a 3-second penalty. Oh lord, the D-Sync. I thought that was Petrus in the wall, I'm not gonna lie. He got a 3-second penalty, interestingly, for using the pit lane. Yeah, I thought you could probably do that, to be honest. But there's 5 attempts, was half a second basically between 4th and 3rd, and 2nd and 3rd as well. So 2 really nice battles, and they are going to the flag with 7 laps to go now. Will Daniel be able to make his move on Jack? And will Kaukas be able to make a move on Thorium? Because if Thorium wins this race, it'll be daylight robbery for Kaukas anyway. As Danny has slipped behind Surface, so it looks like Surface has got past Danny, and that's the Ferrari of Danny down into P6. And he's gaining with DRS, as I was thinking of something to say. And here goes CYP again on Petrus. These two have been at it for too long now, for good since the safety car was out. These two are inseparable, it seems. It's interesting if Danny can keep up with Surface under DRS. He's got that annoying rev glitch. As Daniel has been able to keep up with Jack, and we didn't really expect that too much. After he got past, they've been set fairly similar pace. If one's behind the other, the slipstream and the DRS have been enough to keep everybody together. The same with Kaukas. Look at these two, and this will test each other's bottle as well. Will Thorium be able to hold on to Kaukas' let's say pressure, as he heads down now to turn 1 under DRS. Thorium gets DRS from the, oh, that's unfortunate for Kaukas, otherwise he'd have probably had him. He gets DRS off of the car of Mebe there, and also the car ahead of him as well. So this is going to hold up Kaukas a bit, but here he goes. Will he be able to take the lead of this race? Thorium goes very defensive indeed. He knows what he wants. He wants this race. He squeezes him. Squeezes, but a lot of respect given from both of the drivers, as Thorium keeps ahead of Thorium keeps ahead of Kaukas there. And this would only happen to these two, as Jamie Dodger has got past Finish Boy here for P9. And Milix has come out of pretty much nowhere after he was, well, he was nowhere, he was in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, he's now catching up to these two. And now will Danny be able to catch up to get past Surface again? But there's a theme. First and second are in their own battle. Third and fourth are in their own battle. And fourth and fifth are all in their own battle. 7th and 8th are in their own battle. And then 9th, 10th and 11th are all in. They're all in battles. There's nobody actually on their own. As, oh god, there's a move for the lead. As Kaukas has got past Thorium after God knows how long he's been looking at that rear wing of that Force India. But Kaukas has taken the lead of the Grand Prix. And Danny has managed to get past Surface as well for P5. And that is crucial for this race. As here goes Surface again. Will he be able to get past it? It's all happening now in Brazil. We've got lots of battles. As Milix has got past Finish Boy as well. It's kicking off. As here goes the two Ferraris. I don't know who's who, but it looks like Danny, Surface, Danny. I think Danny's on the inside, as now it's on the outside. Will Surface be able to pull ahead? It looks like he is, as Danny just pulls him behind, and that is him into P5 and 6 respectively for these two. And Daniel Alves is still putting pressure on the Jack. He's fed up of looking at the rear wing of that car. As Thorium put up a good fight to Kaukas, but as you can see, the pace difference already, Kaukas has already gone pretty much up the road. And interestingly, Jack's only 3 seconds off of Thorium, so he hasn't been that far away. Great all race. So here goes Daniel down the inside. Willoughby. Ballsy will just be really nice and try and do it under DRS. It looks like he's going to try it under the DRS as Petrus and CYP are going nose to tail, and so is Danny and Danny and Surface. We don't know where to look at the minute. I mean, here goes Danny on Surface. Will he be able to make that move? It looks like Danny's going to be making that move on Surface, or is he? He's around the outside at the minute, is Danny? Or is it Surface around the outside? I can't tell. It's Surface around the outside. With Danny's rev glitch actually fixing itself, interesting enough. As Daniel has actually got past Jack now, and that would be heartbreak for him. He's had a great race. Them mediums have looked to be coming into their own a bit now. I'll check the penalty situation because that can still play a part if they don't get reckless. Thorium hasn't picked up one. Kalkas hasn't picked up one. Daniel has not picked up, he's picked up two. So despite this, Jack still could get that podium. He's one warning away though. Surface has picked up only one, and Danny's picked up two. So he's basically got that one as Surface if he stays ahead. Here goes Jack. Will he attempt to get past Daniel? No. But it looks like Jack might be heading to that podium despite Daniel's battle here with him. As it looks like Surface has now made that move, as these two are still at it. CYP and Petrus, fair play to them. I mean, it's quite funny to see him. He's not even using DRS as CYP. He's leaving it till the last lap, I'm pretty sure. Now he's just going to say, right, last lap, we're going to just have him. But he doesn't need to even overtake him because of the penalty situation. Milix is up into P9, 12 seconds off CYP, so you don't see him getting anywhere else. Surface and Danny will both catch up to them lapped cars that Thorium did earlier on. And actually, interesting enough, Daniel and Jack are both quicker than Thorium in this situation right now, which is very interesting. And obviously penalties can still play a part at this late stage. If Kalkas picks up one, then that's his race lost, as harsh as it seems. I mean, this is the level these guys are driving at right now. I mean, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, I just want to thank everybody so far who's tuned in. Hope you've enjoyed the race so far as we head on to 2 laps to go. I've been glued to it the whole race as Petrus and CYP are still going at it into turn 1, and these two will be going lights to flag, let's put it that way, as they head now down into turn 2. Now will CYP take up DRS option? Has he got a failed DRS or something, because he's not using it? Because there's only 1 lap to go now for these two. As Jack is still looking at the back of that Sauber. He's only got 1 more attempt at it. And it looks like Daniel's pace is picking up a bit with them mediums, or the softs are starting to die a bit. Because he's definitely getting a bit quicker. I think he's the quickest guy out of them front 4 at the minute. Because Thorium's caught Kalkas a little bit. Not enough to make an impact on him. But keep an eye on the penalty situation. Has Thorium picked up anything? It doesn't really matter for him, but if Kalkas picks up a penalty, that's his race in tatters, really, for where he is. I mean, he deserves it so much, does Kalkas. He's a very quick driver, very unlucky this season not to be doing a little bit better than he is. But yeah, this also keeps him in the championship mathematically, I think, as well. Yeah, well, yeah, just about, sort of. He'd be 50 points away from Thorium. As CYP picks up a penalty for overtaking Petrus again, but CYP is past him. And it looks like he finally passed him, as Danny and Surface are still at it on the last lap of this race. And yeah, this race has been an absolute classic. We're going to focus on the leaders now. I mean, these guys, fair play to all of them, these front 4. They've put up a very good show. Fair play to all grid, they've put up a great show. But it looks like, after being absolutely pressured to be living, looks like he's been screwed over by the safety car. But it looks like Kalkas is going to come round to claim his first SLR win of the season and of ever. And look how happy he is. He's absolutely delighted as Thorium comes home P3 with his teammate Jack P3, I'm mixing up all my words, with Daniel P4. Fair play to all of them. They all deserve a podium today, to be honest. They should have all on there with They've put up a great fight with Surface P5, Danny P6, CYP P7, Petrus P8, Milik so unlucky, span under the safety car, lost a bit of front wing because of it, and that puts him in P9. James Dodger P10 and Finnish Boy P11, them two were together as well. What a race, guys. I don't know what to say. Thank you to the drivers for an amazing race. Takes a lot of practice to get to that level, and fair play to them, as you see Kalka's lifting the trophy today. And yeah, thank you everybody for who's watched this race. I didn't have anything in the comments, so I'm assuming not many people watched, but hopefully we can get this stream about, because this race was pretty special. And yeah, it's a pleasure to commentate as always. I'll be back next week. I don't know if I'll be back commentating T1 or something else, but I'm glad that I commentated. And this is the track goes black. Interesting. But yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to watch. The championship, I think, is pretty much Thorium's now. It's not mathematically his, but yeah, what a race. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope to see you all guys next week. Hopefully we can get close to a full grid, hopefully. And thank you very much everybody. I'm Neneo Food 7, and we're out of here.